So, as you can hear in the background, I just finished watching Wrestle Kingdom 12. And boy, howdy, did I have an experience. So, I'm going to turn that off. And I'm going to go over the card again. First off, if you guys don't know me, I am Micah. You're on my channel, Wrestle Chunky, which will soon be called Wrestle Train. But either way, you are here, and this is my review of Wrestle Kingdom 12. I am a Wrestle Kingdom fan. I just recently decided to be a dedicated full-time fan around the G1 of last year in 2017. It really captured my attention. I've always, and if you check other videos, have always had an interest in New Japan, but I never knew how the methods to go about to watch it and whatnot, and how to get it other than through Daily Motion and probably days, if not weeks, after said matches have happened. If anything, I've probably been keeping up with what's going on over there since about 2014, but this is the first time as a full-time dedicated watcher. So I have watched it live, and man, wrestling is great. Wrestling. Kevin Kelly said it at the end of the show that it doesn't matter the color of your skin, where you're from, who you hang out with, what you do, or anything. If you like wrestling, you like wrestling. And New Japan, and not just New Japan, wrestling bridges us together. Wrestling is what brings all of us to be one big unit. Even if you don't like people's opinions or certain people's mindsets or emotions on certain things in the wrestling community, we're all still just wrestling fans. It is a universal thing. I don't even speak the language of Japanese. I can understand a very small niche amount of it, but I understand the language of wrestling. And New Japan showed me anybody can understand the language of wrestling. So, without further ado, I will go over the matches on the card for Wrestle Kingdom 12. There were 10 matches overall. It was a 5-hour event. It is Wrestle Kingdom. It's the equivalent of WrestleMania. And yeah, that's that. I'm gonna just turn that off. And here we go. So, first match of the product of Wrestle Kingdom was actually on the pre-show. Probably aired around 2:10. I was a little late to getting around to it because I had to get myself prepared. But it was the what did they call it again? The New Japan Rumble, and it is basically the equivalent of the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal for WWE fans, and it had a great winner. It had Masahito, and I'm gonna probably mess up his name, Kakihara. Masahito had recently been battling with cancer, and had actually just recently defeated it, got rid of his cancer. He made a very big triumphant return. Everyone was very happy for it, and he won. He won. Surprise entrances included Cheeseburger, who Bushi was in there at some point, Jushin Thunder Liger, Yoshihashi, Tiger Mask. Everyone loves Tiger Mask. Kinemura, Delirious, El Desperado. Just tons of people were in the match, and it was a very fun, entertaining bout. The first match to actually open the show officially, Wrestle Kingdom, was for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Championship, Roppongi 3K of Sho and Yo versus the Young Bucks of Matt Jackson and Nick Jackson. Sho and Yo were the champions, and they immediately, the Young Bucks and them were very kind of mildly even, and then Sho and Yo did a top rope tope con hilo, I'd probably call it, and at that moment, Sho seemed to hurt himself. He seemed to hurt his back. This match was not a very typical Young Bucks match. Normally, if anyone knows how the Young Bucks work, by how people are perceived them, they do a lot of super kicks. They don't really sell well. They just go 110 speed with no slowing, no working over anything. It's just kick, pin. So in this match, both Sho and Matt Jackson ended up getting their backs hurt, and that was the story of the match. There was plenty of submission moves, plenty of kicks and hits by it. Nick would try and protect his brother every so often, while Yo would try and do as much damage as he could to Matt, and vice versa to Nick to Sho. Plenty of that. Rocky Romero was at the side. The Young Bucks ended up neutralizing him by power bombing him on the ring entrance. And yeah, that was that. Once they got inside the ring, there were some pretty nice exchanges. At one point, one thing that definitely stuck out to me was Matt and Sho had just gotten out of a submission, and they were sitting there on their knees, and then Yo would kick Matt, so then Nick would kick Sho, and vice versa, and they just kept doing it until eventually the Young Bucks neutralized Yo with, I want to say, a DDT on the outside of the ring. They did the Meltzer driver, which is a springboard 450 tombstone, put Sho in the sharpshooter, and he tapped, thus making the Young Bucks the new IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Champions and being the 7-time champions of those titles. It's huge. I definitely did not see them winning it. I definitely thought Roppongi 3K would retain, mostly because, as I said in my previous video, they were a brand new tag team, and I had a lot of momentum on their side. Did not see the Young Bucks winning. It is, though, great, and it was a very good match. And trust me, everything in this show, I will tell you right now, I basically got every prediction wrong except for maybe 2 or 3. Besides that, the matches always will have great or higher on them because, boy, howdy. So the next match was for the Never Openweight 6-Man Tag Team Championship, and that was Chaos, which is Beretta, Tomohiro Ishii, and Toru Yano, versus Bullet Club, Bad Luck Fale, Tama Tonga, Tonga Loa, who were the champions. Michael Elgin versus Michael Elgin and War Machine, comprising of Hanson and Raymond Rowe, versus Suzuki-gun, Taichi, Takahashi Iizuka, and Zack Sabre Jr., versus Taguchi Japan of Juice Robinson, Ryusuke Taguchi, and Togi Makabe. So, as I've just said all these things, it's a lot of people, so I'm just going to keep it to just saying the names of the teams: Chaos, Bullet Club, Suzuki-gun, Taguchi Japan, War Machine, and Elgin. Anywho, it was a gauntlet match, so it would start with 2 tag teams in the beginning of the match. Whatever tag team got eliminated, another tag team will arrive. So I believe it started with Suzuki-gun versus War Machine. Yes, Suzuki-gun versus War Machine. Very kind of off-putting, very different because War Machine and Elgin, 1, don't like each other, and 2, they're huge guys. They're the biggest guys, biggest threat. I definitely thought they would be in it a lot longer, but actually, Zack Sabre Jr., probably the lightest of the Suzuki-gun team faction, ended up tapping the Raymond Rowe out. Sorry, making Raymond Rowe just pass out, thus giving him the win for their team at 6 minutes and 5 seconds. The match was typical Suzuki-gun with antics outside and inside and tons of people getting involved. Once War Machine and Michael Elgin were out, Chaos showed up, and really, I don't really remember a lot happening with that. All I do remember is that Toru Yano ended up rolling up Tai Chi to get the pinfall, thus eliminating Suzuki-gun. It was the team of Chaos for this time of Beretta, Tomohiro Ishii, and Toru Yano was very random. They didn't really flow or have any conjunction. Like, even the weird combination of Michael Elgin and War Machine, they were just three guys a part of a faction that were hanging out. Either way, Toru Yano got a roll-up victory on Tai Chi. Then out came Taguchi Japan. Taguchi Japan did their thing. They ran around and did their stuff. It was very, very fun. Eventually, actually, Toru Yano, I think, did the low blow and rolled up Taguchi and got the pinfall on him. So Toru Yano is basically the MVP of this because he has 2 pinfalls, thus eliminating Taguchi Japan. And then out came the champions, Bullet Club of Tama Tonga, Tangaloa, and Bad Luck Fale, the current champions of the 6-man tag team championship. They basically immediately eliminated Beretta by not like pinned him by like neutralizing him. They just like made him fall on the ground and kept beating up on Toru Yano. Eventually, Tomohiro Ishii came in, turned the tide. There was a big moment where Ishii was trying to suplex Bad Luck Fale, but he couldn't. Eventually, he did. And the crowd went nuts when they eventually got him. Beretta ended up getting tagged back in, and he hit the Dude Buster on Tama Tonga, thus pinning and becoming the new never openweight 6-man tag team champions. Once again, definitely the lowest on the totem pole for who I thought was going to win this match. If anything, I thought Bullet Club was going to retain. If they weren't going to retain, it could have been any of the other teams other than Chaos that I thought was going to walk out of this. Because as I said, they're not a functioning, flowing team. They're just 3 dudes. It was surprising. But still, good match. Probably I have to go back and watch it because it was probably the least like engaging fully, but it was great. As you can see, I'm in most comfort. I'm in max comfort now. I got my blanket, I got my robe, and I got my PJ shirt on because just like I could get all dressed up and set up over there, but I'm in the now. I'm in the right now emotions and mindset that I'm having of the show that I just got done watching. Hopefully, I didn't get like a lot of bad stuff on the television of the show because I don't want to be demonetized or completely have my clip deleted. Because that was not my intention. If you're watching this New Japan, I'm not trying to leak out your material or anything. It was just to show that I was watching it like just a few minutes ago. So, anywho, next match is Cody with his wife Brandy Rhodes versus Kota Ibushi. Probably the 3rd best match on the card. And at that time, it was the 1st best match. It was great. Cody and Brandy came out in this red and black attire. Cody wearing like a Bullet Club cape over his head, not showing his blonde hair that he just blonde if not white complete hair. And came out. He played it up. He eventually took off the hood, revealed it, laughed like an evil villain. Brandy was just as much as an evil villain as her husband Cody. Very much telling that I'm the most beautiful woman in the world. If you don't believe that, you don't believe in Bullet Club, then you're just a mark, and yada, yada, yada. They did great character work just from walking down the ramp. They oozed star. Versus Kota Ibushi, who had just recently came back to New Japan And this was kind of like his redemption match. Ever since he came back, he's always been like doing okay, but never achieve top tier victory or the big ones. Like for example, in the G1, he got a very nice win over Hiroshi Tanahashi, but he did not win the G1. Then he actually went to go face Hiroshi Tanahashi. Did not beat Hiroshi Tanahashi. He was supposed to be facing Cody for the ROH Championship because Cody was previously the champion, but spoiler alert. About 3 weeks ago, he lost it to Dalton Castle in New Japan. Sorry, in Ring of Honor. Anywho, man, go and watch this match. So if you know of the caliber of Kota Ibushi and Cody, you already knew that this match was going to be really good, but it exceeded my expectations. Kota kept trying to do very quick strikes on Cody and kept trying to do what he normally does. Cody kept like countering, if not getting like right out of it just at the nick of time. At one point, Kota did get Cody outside of the ring and did a top rope plancha, but Brandy was there. Brandy fell to the ground because she was right next to Cody, and Kota Ibushi took grievous. He was actually very, very sad that he hurt this woman because he didn't mean to. That wasn't the intention. He tried picking her up, and Cody immediately took advantage and struck Kota, not because he was touching his wife, because it was one giant plan. He took... Brandy wasn't even hurt at all. She probably had actually dodged the whole attack and just fell to the ground and simulated that she was injured, plucking at Kota Ibushi's heartstrings because he's a nice guy. Cody took back the offensive, kept doing it, but Ibushi kept like getting some little bits of offense in. Eventually, probably the spot of the night, in my opinion, Cody had Kota Ibushi on the ring apron and ended up doing a crossroads off of the ring apron onto the ring floor. And I've never seen that before. It was amazing and shocking and great. Kota sold it like he was shot in the head. He didn't. The New Japan, they have a 20 count. He didn't get back into the ring until at exactly like 20. At exactly 19, just beating the count. Cody kept putting on the offense. At one point, he actually took Kota Ibushi's move of like a top rope Hurricane Rana or Frankensteiner, actually. Kota kept kicking out. He kept getting back momentum. Also, Cody was mostly targeting Kota Ibushi's head because that's obviously where his finisher is towards. Eventually, Kota Ibushi came back. He got in his offense. He kept trying to hit the Kamigoye, which means, I believe, God Killer. And it's just a lock of the arms knee. But ever since Kota Ibushi came back from like freelancing to the G1, he's been using that. That has been his finisher. And that I'm saying this because it's pivotal to the ending of the match. So Kota keeps trying to hit Cody with it, but Cody keeps countering. At one point, Kota Ibushi ends up doing a straight jacket German suplex to Cody. Keeps the arms locked, transitions them outward, hits the knee on him. And you would think that Kota Ibushi was going to take the pin. No. He went up to the top rope and hit the Phoenix Splash for the victory. So, the importance of that is that ever since Kota Ibushi came back from, as I said, freelancing, he's only been using the Kamigoye. He has never, ever went back to using the Phoenix Splash. I think he might have used it once against Hiroshi Tanahashi, and that's a think. Trust me, I love the Phoenix Splash and Kota Ibushi's execution of it more so than anybody's. I don't think he's hit it since he came back. So he climbed up to the top rope and did it for the first time on the biggest stage that New Japan has to beat Cody. And Cody at one point during the match was beating up Ibushi, and he said, Kenny doesn't love you. Kenny doesn't love you. Kenny will never love you the way that I love you. Thus, a message to the whole Kenny Omega Kota Ibushi storyline that's still intertwining together. So, Kota Ibushi wins. That is exactly the pick that I had, and for the reason of the storyline that I wanted to go with. So we will see where that goes. Next up is Los Ingobernables de Japón of Evil and Sonata challenging the current champions of the IWGP Tag Team Championships, the Killer Elite Squad. So for I normally am not that much of a fan for Killer Elite Squad. They take a long time to kind of gear up and get to what they want to do, as well as they're just there a lot. This match was the best example of them. They were knocking out of the park, like right out of the gate, right out of the gate, right when the bell rang. They picked up Evil, hit their finisher, the Killer Bomb, and like from that point on, it was all Killer Elite Squad. They were whooping butt. They were going up and down, doing every tag team move they could possibly do, doing flips that I've never seen them do, strong moves. They looked like monsters. And Evil and Sonata sold it like everything. They took out Sonata, focused solely on Evil. At one point, I think they drove Sonata through a table, or they beat the crap out of Sonata with something, and then eventually they threw Evil over the top rope onto a whole bunch of young lions, and eventually Evil and Sonata got back in the ring and they started doing their own. They started eventually getting back offense on Killer Elite Squad. Like they would be going for a move, Killer Elite Squad, and they would counter it and do one of their signature moves. Killer Elite Squad just didn't have enough power for it. Eventually they did hit the Killer Bomb again, this time on Sonata, and I thought it was over. I thought that was the end of the match. Evil saved him. They eventually just kept battling and whatnot. Sonata ended up hitting. They ended up hitting the Magic Killer on Davey Boy Smith Jr., who kicked out of it. They've kept that finisher very protected for Los Ingobernables. Immediately after Sonata climbed up, did his moonsault. The crowd was going nuts for him doing the moonsault, and he got the victory. So now our new champions, the new champions for the IWGP Tag Team Championship, is Los Ingobernables de Japón, consisting of Evil and Sonata. Good match. I was saying earlier in my video that I would think that they would give it to Evil and Sonata, but I thought that there wouldn't be as many title changes on this card, so I went with Killer Elite Squad. Los Ingobernables de Japón deserve it. They did great. They're great wrestlers. Like, yeah, all five of them. And yeah, next up is for the Never Openweight Championship. In a hair versus hair match consisting of the current champion Minoru Suzuki versus Hiroki Goto. This had to be the most brutal match on the card. Suzuki, man, as I've said in my previous video, Suzuki is the man, the most vicious guy I've ever seen. He scares me. The only other person I can see in wrestling that actually scared me was The Undertaker, because he's a giant dead zombie guy. Minoru Suzuki just terrifies me. And he showed me why. He beat the snot out of Goto. Tons of strikes. I don't remember Goto getting much offense in. He hit only like 3 or 4 moves. At one point, Goto was like slapping Suzuki on the chest, and he was just laughing it off, gaining more power from it. Suzuki at one point was choking out Goto at the top rope, like he was dangling down. Suzuki had a barrage of offense, like tons of strikes. If you can find it on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, whatever, find it, because he beats the crap out of him. I have not seen anyone move that fast in strikes and that hard in a long time in wrestling, probably ever. Goto, though, perseveres. He hits a Ushigoroshi. He hits another Ushigoroshi off the top rope after Suzuki's trying to do some moves off on him. Suzuki kept trying to go for his patented chokehold into the Gotch neutralizer pile driver. Goto kept getting out of it. Eventually, Goto, after he hit, I believe, the top rope Ushigoroshi, he hit a GTR on the front. Then he hit the GTR on the back. pinned Minoru Suzuki, and became our new never open weight title holder. As I said, brutal, great match. Go watch it. Go, man. People say like, "Oh man, wrestling's fake," and wrestling's like, there's no way that they hit them. Boy, that ain't fake. So the 7th match on the card is the Fatal 4-Way match for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship. It is Marty Scurll, the champion, versus Hiromu Takahashi versus Kushida versus Will Ospreay. This match had a bit of time to gear up ish. Like at the start for me, I was like, okay, come on, and they kept seeming like one step off, because I feel like they were trying to go just one step faster than what they were first doing. But once it got going, like, oh my god, and they told a great story. So Marty Scurll originally beat Will Ospreay for the championship, like maybe 3 weeks after he had just beaten Kushida, probably his biggest rival, for the title, because Will Ospreay had never beaten Kushida. And Hiromu Takahashi, one of the members of Los Ingobernables de Japón, who has a gripe with Kushida and a gripe with Will Ospreay. He really doesn't have a problem with Marty Scurll until this match. But either way, they go like out. They do tons of flips, tons of strikes, but the flips kind of seem like they need to be there. There was one time though where Will Ospreay like dodged a kick, like a low kick. He did like a full 360, and I was like, why? You could have just hopped over it. Either way, it was still cool. Eventually, they ended up outside of the ring. Eventually ended up outside the ring because Kushida and Will Ospreay just kept jumping on everybody out there. Hiromu kept trying to get some sort of offense in, but everybody kept making sure to stop him more than anybody. Kushida, Marty, and Will Ospreay periodically kept trying to stop Hiromu from getting started. Once outside, Will Ospreay ended up climbing like a railing and doing a backflip off of it onto everybody else. They got back in the ring. They did their stuff in there. I want to say then Marty tried to neutralize once again Hiromu by tying him. I think this was definitely after the splash, but I think it was after they did like their stuff in the middle of the ring. Marty Scurll particularly went to go take out Hiromu by getting tape and tying him to the ring post. Thus, he couldn't get out. And Hiromu just kept trying so hard, and Marty just kept mocking him and messing with him the whole time. Meanwhile, inside the ring, Ospreay is mostly just beating the crap out of Kushida. Kushida really did not go all out like he normally does and can. He definitely was. It's Kushida, so you can always have to fear him because he is the best Japanese junior heavyweight that they have. Hopefully, he'll be graduating to the heavyweight division actually really soon, because I think it's time. Anywho, Will Ospreay is doing the most work in the match. Tons of Os cutters, tons of Williamson specials, and moves that I've never seen before from a person. Marty is very technical, very waiting his spots, and when he gets them, he strikes at him. Eventually, Hiromu gets out, and right when he gets out, he shows exactly why he's called the ticking time bomb. Immediately gets out. Apron power bomb, sunset flip off from the apron onto the ground, power bomb on I think Marty. Then immediately did it to Kushida. Him and Will Ospreay had a little exchange. He just kept he did it to Marty. He did it to Will Ospreay. So it was Kushida and Hiromu. Hiromu hit one of his moves, signature moves on Kushida. Almost got the pinfall. People went nuts when Hiromu was finally unleashed because he is called the ticking time bomb. And once again, he showed exactly why. He is a serious threat because Hiromu will do anything to get what he wants, including harm his own body just to get it. And that's very much in his offense. So Marty is mostly kind of working overarms and trying to get the chicken wing on everybody. At one point, he actually hit the Os Cutter on Will Ospreay. And I thought that was it because it was the ultimate mockery. Because Marty, also the underlining thing is that Will Ospreay cannot beat Marty Scurll. That has been universal in Progress, in Ring of Honor, in New Japan most recently. He always has a hard time with Marty. And in the end, Will Ospreay does hit the... I want to say he hits the Os Cutter on Marty Scurll and pins him. And our new champion is Will Ospreay with the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship. As I said, go back and go watch this. I'd say it's the 4th best match on the card. It had great intensity, great pacing, great fun, fast. If people say like, "Oh man, cruiserweights suck" and all that, no. WWE's perception and handling of the cruiserweights is not good. No way. Japan, on the other hand, they're a top attraction, and they show exactly why. Great, and congratulations to Will Ospreay. It's huge for him. He's 24, and he is the current IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion. This is the second run because he won it just, as I said, sometime last year. Next up was Hiroshi Tanahashi, the current champion, facing off Jay White for the IWGP Intercontinental Championship. The big angle was that Jay White, 1, had just came back from excursion, 2, had wanted to get the best, beat the ace. Tanahashi is the ace of Japan. He is basically the John Cena of Japan. He has plenty of injuries, and he's kind of changed up his way of doing things. And Jay White wanted the old Hiroshi Tanahashi. He wanted the ace, the original Hiroshi Tanahashi. He wanted to beat him and become the IWGP Intercontinental Championship. As I said, I wasn't familiar with Jay White. He kind of seemed like a pseudo Kenny Omega, just a smaller, younger version of him. And he showed that he was a different kind of creature than him. It was mostly Tanahashi being the weak link in the match. Like, not the weak link, like he's old and battered and beaten and just really messed up. And every time he would be trying to get an offense in, Jay White would always have some sort of a counter ready to do it. He'd mock him the whole match. But eventually Tanahashi overcame and hit the high fly flow about 3 times and pinned Jay White and retained his championship. I'm not saying much about it because, as I said before, normally for Tanahashi matches, I'm really not that amped for it because he always plays the babyface in peril. When I know that guy is probably the second strongest dude inside of the whole company, I know what he can do. I don't need him to be like, "Oh man, I'm almost hurt." No, he needs to be, "Oh man, I'm gonna beat you because I can, and you better try everything you can because you ain't gonna beat me." Great video package, by the way, to set it up. But it was an alright match. Jay White definitely has a bright future. He's only 25, so I think he's gonna do a lot. Now we have the co-main event for the IWGP United States Heavyweight Championship title in a no DQ match with the current champion Kenny Omega versus Chris Jericho. So, this was titled as a dream match because it was. It was 100% a dream match. No one would predict that Chris Jericho, the Ayatollah of Rock and Rolla, the man that is the best in the world at what he does, the Raw is Jericho, the WWE and WCW guy, Chris Jericho, to come back to New Japan after, I want to say, 20 years out of being the company and facing off one of the best, if not the best. It's interchangeable between 2 guys in the company, and Kenny Omega. And especially for the title, Jericho went about it in a very different way than how New Japan handles. He attacked Kenny before the match, even before anything. Normally, a challenge is issued by, hey, I want to fight you for the title. I'll do it when I get there. Jericho like preemptively attacked Kenny, made him bleed. Definitely just kind of tortured him. Anytime they had an interview or something, Jericho would always lose his stuff and basically always try and beat up Kenny all the time. So this is the culmination of the match. People went nuts that Jericho was there. Kenny Omega had a great reaction, and the match was everything and more what it was. I definitely didn't think it would have been as great as it came out to be. It ended up definitely being a 5-star match in my opinion. If by the Dave Meltzer thing, I don't have that. I don't go by stars. I go by go watch it. Don't watch it when you're bored, or don't watch it at all. I'll have some sort of like quippy title for it later, but right now that's what I'm calling it. Man, like chairs were a lot involved. Kenny pretty early in the match ended up trying to do a top ropes tope con hilo onto Chris Jericho and on a table, and Jericho moved, so Kenny went right through the table. Eventually they got back up. Kenny ended up using a regular table on top of Jericho and stomping on the table, pushing it onto Jericho. They got back in the ring. Jericho used some chairs to kind of beat him up. He put some chairs in the middle of the corner. Jericho set up a table outside, and he was trying to powerbomb Kenny on it, but Kenny fought back, so he just powerbombed him on the ground. By the way, the whole time Jericho is beating up Young Lions, he's yelling at the commentators, pushing down the referee. This is Alpha Jericho, as I like to call him, Grumpy Dad Jericho. But Grumpy Dad Jericho, you don't want to mess with, because he will go to your game, punch the referee in the face, punch the coach in the face, and probably push a kid, because he just doesn't care. Alpha Jericho was doing a lot of work. Kenny, though, was nothing to sleep on. He kept giving it right back to Jericho with knees, punches, strikes, eventual bombs and whatnot. One of the turning points was Jericho and Kenny. Also, Kenny at one point targeted. Jericho targeted Kenny's injured leg. Later around last year, Kenny had surgery on his left leg, and it was supposed to keep him out for about 2 months, but it only kept him out for like 4 weeks less. So he came back a little early, and Jericho exploited that by constantly attacking it and putting in the walls of Jericho a lot. But the turning point was Jericho got a lot of momentum on his side, because he ended up setting a chair up in the middle and rammed Kenny's head into it like 7-8 times. Eventually Kenny started bleeding from his head. It wasn't like back in the day gushers like Hulk Hogan and all, or Vince McMahon, but he was bleeding. There was blood. There's definitely blood. And like it just kept getting more and more violent and brutal. And Jericho kept trying to take out Kenny by submission to show that he is better than him. Eventually, I believe Jericho went through the table that he set up outside. Yeah, Kenny hit a V-trigger knee while Jericho was trying to get back inside of the ring, which thus hit Jericho outside of the ring, and he fell on top of a table, thus breaking it. Jericho got back in. They fought a little bit more. Jericho finally hit the code breaker. A move that they've definitely shown is like a killer. Like when AJ Styles showed back up, they booked his Styles Clash as like a certified, you stay down, you will not get up. And that's how I kind of looked at the code breaker for Jericho most recently. And he did. Kenny kicked out of it. Jericho got frustrated, started wailing on Kenny with the chair. Like a lot. Eventually Kenny got fed up, got up, hit him with a couple knees. Jericho was discombobulated, and hit him with the one-winged angel on top of the chair. So what happened was that while Kenny was hitting the V-trigger, the chair fell in like a spot, just randomly on the mat. Kenny eventually hit Jericho with the knees enough to have him bounce off of the ring. He used that momentum to pick him up into the one-winged angel position, which is an electric chair. Right in front of him, when he turned around, was the chair on the ground. Kenny
set up to do the one-winged angel, and Jericho could see the chair, and you could see on his face genuine terror and freaking out because he did not want that to be used. And Kenny drove him into the ground on top of the chair and pinned him. And it was beautiful justice. It was storytelling and an execution done correctly to a T. They built this match based off of an attack by one guy, and they came out with a great story in the end. It is a fantastic 5-star match. Definitely go watch it. It is my definite go watch on this show. But that's not the main event. The true main event, as you may have heard, was Kazuchika Okada, the current IWGP Heavyweight Champion, longest reigning IWGP Heavyweight Champion, versus Tetsuya Naito, the winner of the G1 Climax of 2017. Quick tidbit about 4 years ago in 2012, Naito was supposed to face Okada for the IWGP Championship in the main event of Wrestle Kingdom of that year. I want to say it was 8, maybe 7. I'm not familiar. But either way, they were supposed to be the main event, but Naito wasn't getting a lot of the fan adoration that he was supposed to be getting. So the New Japan higher-ups did a poll, which is very, very unheard of. Ever since the G1 has existed and Wrestle Kingdom has existed, once you win the G1, the winner of the G1 goes on to Wrestle Kingdom to face the champion in the main event. But since Naito wasn't that well liked, to a point where he wasn't getting almost any reaction, they decided that we will cast it to a vote, and whoever wins the vote between Hiroshi Tanahashi versus Shinsuke Nakamura for the Intercontinental title, or Okada versus Naito for the heavyweight title as the main event. Tanahashi and Shinsuke won, so they were the main event. And Naito took it very personally that the fans didn't like him. He didn't like the corporate. They did a very disrespectful thing to him, and he wanted and deserved his main event for winning what he won. And it changed his character from the Stardust genius into the Tetsuya Naito that we know now, the leader of Los Ingobernables. He made a faction. He's very disrespectful, spits on people, definitely does not care for rules and regulations and for people. He's very, quotation marks, tranquilo, and all of that. This is that story from 4 years ago, culminating back into, by the way, it was Wrestle Kingdom 8, 4 years ago. Culminating back into that, hey, I got my main event. I got my second shot. I'm better, way better than what I am now. And I'm better than you. And I'm going to beat you tonight at the biggest stage ever, at probably the biggest Wrestle Kingdom that we've ever had. And Okada came out and said, I'm that boy. I'm that boy Okada. That boy Okada. They were very even. It was very reminiscent of the match that they had at Wrestle Kingdom 8. Very much even at times. Okada was a little bit more ahead, though, in a lot of the offense. He eventually, they every time whenever one would hit a big move, the other one would hit another big move. One of the best that I can remember was Naito hit a top rope top rope inverted Frankensteiner, Hurricane Rana on Okada, which just drove his head into the ground. Okada did a German suplex into a Rainmaker, which Naito kicked out, and let's put it this way, a lot of people do not kick out of the Rainmaker. It is a very niche amount of people that do. They did a lot of very mirror images of last year, of years ago, but also Okada kept trying to submit Naito to his new Cobra Clutch submission that he made to counter the Destino, and that was very much what he was just trying to do. He was only trying to do that, mostly kind of trying to insult and
Naito, but Naito would not give up. Like, Naito would not stay down, not give up. Naito hit about, I want to say, 3 Destinos onto Okada, and Okada just once again would not give up either. Crowd was unglued the whole match. They were moderately nice to loud. This match was roaring. The Tokyo Dome is huge, and you could hear them screaming and chanting and yelling the whole time in the match from beginning to end. And Naito, Okada, very even fan adoration, very close. At one point, Naito also was very tentative. He was kind of like, oh man, can I beat this guy? Is the crowd really on my side? Nah, I'm cool. I'm Destino. He definitely had some little slight hesitation inside of himself. Eventually, Naito got like his energy back and his goal. He also kept trying to do his old finisher, the Stardust Genius, off of the top rope. Stardust Splash. But he eventually gave up on that and just hit his 3 Destinos. He was setting up for a 4th one, really geared up, pointing to the crowd, ready to go. And he said he did it. He was about to do it, and Okada grasped him, did a jumping turnaround tombstone, got up, hit him with the Rainmaker, and pinned Naito 1, 2, 3 in the ring to retain his title in a match that everyone thought Naito was going to win, including myself. I definitely wanted Naito to win. But Okada came out on top. Okada, he said, I'm that boy. I'm that boy with them pants. Okada is that boy. With the I. B-O-I. Boy. So, Wrestle Kingdom 12. Great show. If you never have ever watched New Japan, go watch Wrestle Kingdom. That's it. That's there's no flash for me. There's no flare. I'm not gonna make confetti pop out of my hands. I'm not gonna make make it a graphic up top. It is go watch New Japan. We are all wrestling fans. There's tons of wrestling out there, and if you are listening to this and you don't know it and you have not watched it, you are keeping your view this big. And by this big, I mean this big. There is a plethora of material out there that you can watch. And New Japan is one of the top plethoras out there. It is awesome. From top to bottom, month to month, they give out some of the best worked things that I've ever seen in my life, with so much intertwining and very much going matches and shows. It is a spectacle beyond any spectacle. And Wrestle Kingdom is their biggest one. But not just Wrestle Kingdom is a great show. They have the G1, they have the New Japan Cup, they have the tag tournaments, they just have regular shows that they do. It is prime top tier wrestling, and we all speak the universal language of wrestling. So, once again, I have been your host, Micah. You can follow me on Twitter at Micah Kool-Aid. Go watch New Japan at NJPW World.com. It has an English translator. I highly recommend you sign up. You already paid $9.99 for the WWE Network. You're just paying another $9.99 for New Japan. It is well worth it, with tons of material and great matches. They translate a lot of stuff as well. It is top tier, as I said, prime rib wrestling and storytelling. Go out of your way to watch it. I am Micah, at Micah Kool-Aid on Twitter. Please leave a comment below. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. Please make sure to hit that ring-a-ding-ding, that bell, so that you can get alerted to anything that I put up. And I will see you all next time. Catchphrase.